Happy 2000!
The year was 2000. We had just survived the great Y2K disaster, the dot-com bubble had begun to burst, and the final Peanuts comic ever was published. But while some great American treasures were ending, others were just being born. This is the story of Jazzland, New Orleans. Boasting 3 roller coasters, a log flume, and several other unique attractions, the park was to be the biggest and best in the area.
Jazzland in New Orleans hasn't been open a week yet, but one ride there is turning heads all over the country.
When you look out over the skyline at Jazzland, there's one ride that dominates the view.
Got a 110-foot drop and speeds of about 65 miles per hour.
The all-new Mega Zeph is the only wooden roller coaster in Louisiana. It's also the biggest, with about 4,200 feet of track.
Located on a coveted parcel of land in the city's East District, the park seemed like it would be a surefire hit with the community. Sadly, this was not the case. Failing to draw in the large crowds they had projected, this oversight caused devastating losses to Jazzland's owners, forcing them to file for bankruptcy in 2001. It would appear that after less than 2 years of its grand opening, Jazzland would soon be closing its doors for good. The park was put up for sale, and in March of 2002, Six Flags purchased Jazzland in an ambitious $22 million 75-year lease deal. An additional $20 million was put into the park to add more shaded areas, a few smaller updated rides, and 2 new coasters, the Batman and the Jester. Plans were even drawn up to add a much-needed water park to the area after the following 2005 season, but
each encounter gets more and more profound.
We got people in 3-story houses that's still trying to survive out in the houses.
A neighborhood of stately homes flooded to the front door. An airboat offers to take us to the hospital, but it sinks in the maze of tight corners.
The park was left submerged 6 feet deep in water for months after the hurricane touched down. And when it all finally drained from the area, the park and its attractions were left devastated. Around the time of Hurricane Katrina, Six Flags was already closing some of its smaller, less profitable parks around the country, and with the New Orleans park being one of the least profitable in their portfolio, it was likely already a candidate for closure. It came with no surprise that after the hurricane struck, Six Flags attempted to negotiate an early exit from their 75-year lease deal with the city, and after the request was denied, the city forced Six Flags' hand into rebuilding and restoring the ravaged park. With an estimated $32.5 million in damages, what followed was an ongoing legal nightmare between Six Flags, their insurers, and the city of New Orleans. And while the grown-ups all fought it out, the park sat neglected and in ruin.
That's a security guard. It's gonna be a pain in the ass to get there.
So this is where they had like night shows and stuff?
I don't know whether, it wasn't like big shows, I mean it's a small stage, but they would have some little, you know, silly little band characters or whatever.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff, it was like a Chuck E. Cheese thing, I don't know, I mean we were here usually during the day, but.
It's like a little bar here. Here's one of the cars. the cab that you would sit in the Ferris wheel there. And you can see it was on kind of like a hoist that would allow it to rock. And I mean, this thing does move. Yesterday we had some heavy winds and it was almost spinning the Ferris wheel as like a kind of a ghost operating the whole thing. A lot of this has been gutted though. That's why I'm not spending too much time on interiors. I'll show you this one just so you can get the general idea. These would have probably been like little shops. As you can see, it's mainly just studs and graffiti. Little shelf there, but not too much. You can see all the way to the back down there. And here's another roller coaster. It's all rusted. Look at that spiral staircase. How contorted it is. It looks like it's snapped and falling apart. Probably due to the hurricane. Here's one of the log flume rides. It seems that most of these cars are just scattered throughout this whole walkway. The bumper cars are out in the middle. The cars from the Joker ride. It really just so eerie seeing it all like this. Just thinking how it used to be lit up. Families would walk through here. It's probably a high traffic area of the park.
Seeing the park up close and personal like this was definitely a surreal experience for me. These lost and forgotten attractions, slowly being consumed by the surrounding forest, were like something out of a movie. In December of 2006, Six Flags announced that it would be removing and relocating several rides from its park. The first to go was the Batman ride. With its elevated track and station platform, it was one of the few rides that survived its battle with Katrina. Soon after, Six Flags would begin to pull more and more rides from its New Orleans location. Among the removed attractions were the Bayou Blaster, Sonic Slam, as well as the Roadrunner Express. These rides were all removed from the park and sent to be refurbished and rebuilt in other Six Flags locations. It was now becoming evident that the company had no intentions of reopening the Six Flags New Orleans park, leaving it for ruin just as you see today.
An ice cream shop. It's gutted now. Even a little ride right here. It looks like all the seats have washed away. This looks like it would have been a refreshments area. You can see the probably a soft drink machine and some freezers. gas line. This is one of the lesser touched or gutted buildings that we've seen, and you can see the water line about 4 feet off the wall. This would have been like the little kids area. You can see like a big jungle gym in the center here. Holy, this would have been a stage here for shows. You can see it's completely washed out. You can see the benches and seating area all overgrown here. This part of the park is really overgrown. Damn, this is like one of those buses that would rotate around, back and forth for the kids. You see it had some Looney Tunes characters painted on the windows. It would have been a little drop tower ride right there.
So, what's next for this decaying and defunct theme park? Well, in 2021, a bit of ideas from developers looking to repurpose the former Six Flags was held, and a group by the name of Bayou Phoenix ultimately won the deal to redevelop the area. Their proposal was to turn the space into a water park, sports complex, retail center, and film studio. But after almost a year of negotiations with the city, the two parties have been unable to compromise on a lease agreement for the property.
Troy Henry, whose company Bayou Phoenix won the bid to develop their massive site, tells WDSU News that the city appears to want too much control over what he plans to do on that site. The longer this takes, the greater chance the deal has to fall apart.
Bayou Phoenix claims that they could have the area redeveloped as early as 2025, but without reaching an agreement with the city, nothing can be done. So, will Bayou Phoenix bring about the much-needed winds of change? Or is it just another failed proposal falling victim to the same cycle? In the end, who knows? But it looks like this long-shuttered theme park will have to remain closed for a few more storms. I'd like to thank my friend Jake Williams from Bright Sun Films for making this video possible, and letting me shoot the park while I was helping him film his documentary, Closed for Storm. His work dives a lot deeper into the park's history and the massive story surrounding it, so if you haven't already checked it out and want to learn more on this incredible location, be sure to look for the link in the description below. And as always, thank you for watching.
Your tire change, bitch.
And you got the poster shots too.
Yeah.
Well, she
I'm
didn't.
the poster girl.
You didn't. You stood in a straight line and shined a flashlight.
I got attacked by bugs.
Wow, you did a whole lot.
Turn around, let me get
Thanks.
your
You're the integral part of this project.
Integral.
What did I say?
Integral.